Hello, my name is Grace Wanura, and welcome to Horse Pro, the channel dedicated to empowering the amateur horse enthusiast and supporting the budding professional. Before I get started on today's topic, I would love to ask you to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be alerted of any new videos, and of course the like icon if you find anything in today's information to be of value to you. I'd also invite you to join us on Facebook on the page Horse Pro. We welcome you there. So today I want to talk about a really interesting concept that money can buy you success in horses. I really want to dispel that myth. I know it's very easy when you're standing on the sidelines to say, well, that person is able to spend this much money on the horse and they're able, so therefore they're more successful. So I'll tell you what, the quality of horse you buy for the level it can do, for instance, if you can afford to do the meter jumpers, and that's the level you're at, then great. But that meter jumper may not turn out to be a meter 40 horse or a meter 60 horse. So that's where the disparagement in quality of horse comes in for each level you do. So those amounts of money for the horses, and I'll discuss this in another video, is based on conformation, attitude, soundness, age, suitability to a job, and how rare the talent is in that horse. And that's what denotes the price tag. But from a rider's point of view, many riders come from non-wealthy families. And there are some top riders that have come from wealthy families. The only thing that is directly comparable is natural born talent in these folks and hard work ethic. So when I hear somebody comparing and being bitter and saying, well, they had all the advantages. No, I'll tell you what. There are many people, and I'm going to use a Canadian example that I think is an icon in this industry, and that is Mr. Eric Lamaze. So Eric Lamaze was not born to wealth. Eric Lamaze was not even born into a family dynamic that most of us would envy. But I will tell you, he took every opportunity given him and worked his buns off, and I can tell you this firsthand, and he turned lemonade into lemons at every turn. So whatever advantage was given to him, whatever opportunity was given to him, he worked twice as hard as someone else, 10 times as hard as someone else. And yes, he has natural talent. In the top levels, you have to have natural talent in order to do it. I am never going to be a basketball player. I love basketball. Go Raptors, win tonight. But I'm never going to be a natural basketball player. I am 5'2". I don't have any jump on me like that. I love the sport, but it's not going to happen for me. I don't have those skill levels. So all of us have to reconcile that, and yes, this is where horses can help us fill the gaps, but there's a lot that goes into being a professional athlete, and riding is no different. Work ethic is number one. Work ethic is number one. And as I said to you, rags to riches, Eric Lamaze is a perfect endeavor to that. He's a very clever man. He's an athletic man. He's a natural born athlete, but he works and he works and he works and he works. When he was a teenager, I remember him being on his first horse by 5:30 in the morning and riding 30, 60, 90 trips a day in the hunter ring. So you don't do that, and you don't get out of bed to do that unless you desire to be great at something. So today, when I see people and they're comparing themselves against a money bracket, and they're saying, well, I don't have enough money to be a good rider, that is really a very, very negative, uninspiring, and lacking in truth comment. If you truly want to get good at riding, you can learn to ride on many different types of horses. You can learn off every horse. You can learn off school horses, obviously. You can make every horse better. You can learn things about horsemanship by hanging out in a stable. You can work in a stable to trade off money for lessons. It's all about how much you desire it and how you're going to figure it out. But today, many people see entitlement, and they use other people's monetary acumen or ability or a bank account as a ploy to not try. That's the way I see it. So instead of saying, well, you know what, I can afford X amount of dollars for a horse. So you go when you find the horse that suits you, your level, for X amount of dollars. And you work your buns off. And as I said, if you have to work at the stable, if you need a part-time job, if you need 2 part-time jobs, schooling is important. I'm not suggesting that you trade off school for that. But what I'm saying is sometimes it takes giving up other things in order to be really good at one thing. And so it really comes down to how much do you want it. Now, does money make it easier to feel like you have advantages? Yes, it does. But in some ways, that very same money can give you a false sense of security. And I will say again that I know people who have extreme wealth and were born into it, and they are professionals, and yet they work as hard as any professional who's come up through the ranks that hasn't come with money. So the big factor here is, if you want it, if you want to be good at a sport, if you want to be good at school, if you want to be good at a job, it takes time, practice, effort over time, not immediacy. And to be clear, while it may seem that for a short while people can buy their success with a certain horse, you have to remember, if the rider does not keep up their training, if the rider does not keep up their work ethic, then at some point, at some level, at some show, that rider will fail, no matter what they are riding. I use this a lot. Big Ben was quite a famous Canadian horse ridden by the great Ian Miller. Now, if you gave somebody else Big Ben to ride, and it wasn't Ian Miller, with all the years of dedicated work he put in to learning his craft, they would not have been able to get those results. And the dedication that Ian Miller put into the craft, he couldn't buy. He had to do it with time. And any great rider in the world has put in hours of riding, hours of fitness, hours of observation, hours of failure, hours of success, hours of learning how to deal with people, how to have clients, how to garner, take opportunities that might seem negative and make them into a positive. But again, it's hard work. So anybody out there who thinks you can buy your way to the top, you cannot. And while it might seem that way for some people for a short term, if you watch long term, it will fall apart if said person does not put the time and effort in. So again, I just say this because I listened this past weekend at a horse show to a few misguided youths who were not aware of the type of hours it takes. They thought riding 3 hours a week or 4 hours a week was a great coup. And when I explained to them that some of those juniors out there, just like gymnasts, they might be riding before school, they're riding after school, they're still doing their homework. They were shocked. They were shocked at the amount of time these kids are putting in and why they're getting there. When I explained how many hours at most professionals, for them to get up at 5:30 or 6 every day and work a 12-hour day or a 14-hour day is nothing. That's the usual in the horse industry. And they were shocked. They couldn't understand how that was a regular 6-day-a-week routine, and Mondays might be considered a day off, but usually it's done doing phone calls and paperwork. So again, I just want to point out that nobody gets to the top without work effort over time. Again, work effort over time. Time in the saddle. Time in the saddle. hours and hours of time in the saddle, hours of learning about horses, hours of being in the stable. This is what gets you to the top. And again, money can help you there because it may get you there a little sooner. It may seem to provide you with some opportunities, but if you don't make use of those opportunities, the money is meaningless. And those without money can certainly create those opportunities for themselves if they get creative. End of story. Again, this is Grace Winier for Horse Pro. Please hit the subscribe button, the like icon, and I wish you a very good Monday.